Hey pilots, it's been a while. My apologies that it's been so long since our last session. If this is your first visit, welcome to 11's Hangar. Today we are taking out the MISC Razor EX in Star Citizen Alpha 3.17.1. Today's focus is launching missiles on targets that are not directly in front of us. To do this, we will be utilizing the Tobii Eye Tracker 5. On screen, you will see a brief detail of the Razor EX's specs, as well as the component and ordnance detail used in this session. For components, it houses one power plant, one shield generator, two coolers, one quantum drive, all size 1. For weapons, it has two size 2 hardpoints and carries two size 1 missiles. The Razor platform is focused on racing, but the EX is a designated stealth fighter. What it lacks in toughness, it more than makes up for, with an astounding SCM speed of 252 meters per second and a blistering top speed of 1,345 meters per second. Its handling and maneuverability have been updated, and this ship truly performs closer to how it looks. If you haven't flown it lately, I suggest giving it some flight time. Now that we have the introduction out of the way, we will move into the focus portion of this session. I'll see you in the suite. Alright, welcome to the suite. The first thing we're going to cover is the first missile that I fired at the ship. The Razor EX is the ship that I was flying in. We were moving in this direction. We were looking off in that direction. Our targeting reticle for the missile was lined up with our helmet. It was looking in the direction of the ship. The ship was headed in that direction. Now the missile we fired came off the rack. It followed a trajectory pretty much like that. Came around and was coming up behind the ship. So we'll set the missile there. When the missile was on approach, Mustang broke off in that direction. Let go some flares. Our missile continued in that direction, missing the target. Now the second time, get that set up. We were parallel with the ship. Distance was about 1,700 meters, maybe a little more. Mustang was moving in this direction. We were moving in the same direction. We were looking in that direction, directly at the Mustang. Now the missile we fired this time went out ahead of the Mustang and was coming around towards it. The Mustang came up. It made a direction change. It pivoted, it turned like that. And just as it was going to make its turnaround maneuver, and right here, you know, once if you're changing direction from this way to that way, there's a little slowdown. Our missile made contact. And realistically, it was probably somewhere in this position as he was turning. It hit him in this quadrant. It was in this quadrant that it hit him. So let's talk about what was more effective in regards to what was more effective about this missile than the other one we fired. Well, the one thing that we noticed is when we use flares, they come from behind the ship. In this instance, when we fired this missile, it was circling around, it was curving around, coming at the front of the ship. So the direction change this ship had to make was a lot different than it being just behind it, because it was coming towards it. This moment when it went to make a direction change, it slowed down. The previous engagement, it was able to speed up. It was able to add to the speed that it already had and speed up, drop flares and avoid the missile. In this particular case, it wasn't able to. Any flares that it was going to drop were going to come out and they wouldn't be in alignment with the approaching missile. So we got a hit there. So let's talk a little bit about how this happened with the missile that we fired. We were utilizing the Tobii eye tracker, which does a lot more in Star Citizen than just allow you to look around in your cockpit. It allows you to track where your target is going, and when you're in missile operator mode, that icon that tracks the ship is tied to your helmet, which allows you to look around. You can also look around and pin targets that aren't directly in front of you. You can have your missile lock follow a target as long as your head is following the moving target. Your missile lock will follow the target also. The other thing that this is good for is setting up opportunities to cut your target off and use missiles to force your target in different directions. So let's say, make this a little bigger. We're in a position where we are behind a ship. We're lining them up for a missile. And the target does a maneuver like this. It goes down. Oh, you know, we got the wrong thing. Sorry about that. it goes down and makes a turn to go that way. And right about this point, as it comes down, we're getting ready to not have line of sight. It won't be directly in front of us to look. However, if you look down with the Tobii eye tracker and your missile operator mode on, you'll be able to send a missile in that direction. We use our MFDs to track and see the direction that targets are going. But let's say in this case, this missile is coming down. We don't know whether or not it's going to hit, but we do know that our target, now that's made this maneuver, is headed in this direction. We're still headed in this direction. So what you can do, while that missile incoming, it's possible that it'll force them down a little bit further. It may force them to speed up. What you can do is you can make a maneuver like that, and while they're working on either A, speeding up to dodge the missile, and mind you, gentlemen, let you know again, this is situational, but let's say that we use that missile to force this target to speed up in this direction. Well, instead of trying to chase him down, we have the missile going in that direction. We know he's not going to come up here. We do a maneuver like this. We come around, and while he is evading that missile, we can line up for using guns. Works a lot better in atmosphere. It is very situational, but I was using this as an example to kind of show you how you can use the Tobii eye tracker and missiles to force change of direction, and even sometimes force targets where you want them to go to be able to follow up. So we're going to go into our simulation cockpit, and I'll give you a little bit of an example of what that looks like, because on the screen, when you saw on the video, I did have line of sight. Even though it was off to the side, it wasn't out of my view. So let's come over here. We'll set this up, cockpit view. So this is pretty much what we see, and it depends on the ship. You may have a little bit more view, but you know that when it gets down around this area here or up above you, there may be, depending on the cockpit of your ship, you may not be able to see it. But your tracking for your missile is tied to your helmet. So as long as you're looking, even when that ship goes out of view, and I'd say probably about there, you can still have your tracking, and you can still have your lock, and you can still fire. So if that ship, you see it in the distance, if it moves down there, you still have your targeting on it to be able to fire, and it'll follow it as long as you're following the target. You'll be able to launch that missile without having line of sight. It's a really awesome feature, the Tobii eye tracker. I think it's just awesome because it opens up new opportunities for engagement, and you can add to your skill set and have some new tactics outside of just your maneuvering in the ship that you have, but also being able to utilize the best of what the avionics offer in the ships that we have. So I just wanted you to kind of see that, to get a little bit better understanding of what all you can do even without having line of sight. And as long as you keep your head moving, even though that ship is physically out of your view, you can still launch missiles and use your MFDs to track the direction of the target, because like if it starts to move that way, you'll see the ship rotate on your screen. You'll be able to adjust your ship. Like if it's there, you'll be able to adjust your ship while keeping your eye on the target. So I just hope that representation helped a little bit. I was just trying to give you a general idea of what it looks like in the cockpit view and how you can still track your target without being able to actually see it. You can just use use where your missile targeting is going. So I hope that kept that short and sweet, and I will see you in final thoughts. I've really been looking forward to sharing this with you. The Tobii Eye Tracker 5 opens up a whole new world of opportunity when it comes to combat tactics. Just to cover 2 quick things about the Tobii. 1. I've tested the Tobii Eye Tracker on a 48-inch monitor and a 34-inch curved monitor, and it works just as well as the suggested monitor sizes in the documentation. 2. The settings in Star Citizen allows you to adjust the tracking of your head only, eyes only, or a combination of both. Now the Tobii Eye Tracker adds immersion to the Star Citizen experience in addition to enhancing your situational awareness. If you're considering adding the Tobii to your flight setup, please use the link in the description and the code 11's Hangar to receive a 5% discount. Using the link and code supports 11's Hangar, and I deeply appreciate it. If you have enjoyed and found value in this video, please like, subscribe, and share. This session has concluded. Stay frosty, pilot, and I'll see you in the verse.